Talked about that with Mark Lenhart, who lived and worked in China to begin his career. He now runs a program sending this next generation of Americans to China.
Yeah, I think, especially when it comes to young people, when it comes to college students, students at that age are so impressionable, and to have the opportunity to go to China or to come to the United States and learn about each other's countries at that age, I think, is life-changing. It's transformational. And certainly from my experience, when I first went, the hospitality I felt, the caring that I felt from local people in Beijing in those days, it was 1987 when I first went, has stayed with me, and it pretty much convinced me to have a career related to China and to maintain my connections over time and to really work on building this relationship between China and the United States. So I think for young people and people going into business, the opportunity to go and immerse themselves in China and create connections with Chinese people propels them into careers related to China. And so I think for the two countries, it's just win-win.
President Xi was just in Washington, and he's been a big proponent of this. And when he was vice president and he did his visit to the United States and visited with Vice President Biden, one of the other things he did was go back to Muscatine, Iowa, where he had been before. And Muscatine has fallen in love with this whole China-Iowa relationship. And that's another offshoot of all of this, isn't it? I mean, the growth and the relationships, it kind of spirals out, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and I think I'm so glad that he went there during his visit, because I think it was a good reminder to all of us that those people-to-people exchanges are invaluable to not only personal relations, but to our understanding of each other's countries. And I think the more is better in this case. So the more we can do, the better, I think, for both countries. And that's why I was so pleased to see or to hear about the announcement of the 1 Million Strong campaign that was launched and announced during his state visit last week. I think in this country we need more and more people to learn Chinese. I think that's a very good start in expanding the exchange between our two countries.
One final question. You brought it up, kind of alluded to it in the first response, that in the United States, we tend to focus on the problems in this relationship, right. And it's easy to see the leaders kind of bumping heads on some issues. But when you have them bumping heads, but you have all these other people doing all of this, what does that mean in terms of percolating up, in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way, I'm a great example of this. Having had the opportunity to go to China when I was very young, it really transformed my understanding of China. And I think, again, for young people today who are interested in doing internships in either country, students are getting an opportunity to see firsthand how the economy works. They're building relationships with colleagues or mentors in these settings. And they will take those experiences with them as they grow older. So when they're 25, 30 and building their careers, they will remember the relationships that they had in China. And maybe they'll even revisit those relationships or use them to build further connections between the two countries.